Hey there, fans of brotherly love wrestling. It is I, Vic Dalishus.
Philly's own, the Mecca here.
It is the real McCoy, J.D.X. Justin D. Xavier. And
it's your man, CD, the fallen angel, Christopher Daniels.
Hello, boys and girls. This is your old friend RJ City.
Hey there, brotherly love wrestling. Bill Carr here.
Hey everyone, this is two-time guest Wheeler Yuta.
Two bozos from Philadelphia flapping their gums about pro wrestling this, pro wrestling that.
Which is not that unique in the grand scheme of things yet.
You are in for a treat because you're tuned in to Brotherly Love Wrestling.
Philadelphia, are you ready?
No! They said, are you ready?
This is Brotherly Love Wrestling Podcast, your first stop for everything professional wrestling. So sit back and enjoy wrestling talk at its finest with your hosts, Larry Hall and Joe Corrado.
So to start off, like we said, the reason that we're doing this is just to get to the other side, because obviously everyone can see the pro wrestlers out there, but they don't see what the family has to go through, whether it's when you're a traveling wrestler, when you're traveling from town to town,
Making towns.
and doing all that. And not only that, the special part that you have, an insight that you have that not many other maybe wrestling wives or significant others can really speak to, is now with Vic and Hale taking on ACW, now you have the promoting side. So it's a whole new than just them leaving the house and going for a date. Now it's putting these shows together. So we'll start there. What has it been like? And now obviously May 17th coming up, ACW's second show, Aftershock. We've already been through January 6th, the first ACW show. What has it been like from him telling you, I think we have this idea that we might be going this way, all the way to now going through this into now the second event?
Well, and initially, it was like, I think we're going to do this thing, and, this is who we're going to meet. We're going to have dinner at Cosimo's and we'll see what happens. And, I think for Vic and for Hale, it's like it's the natural progression, right? Like people are always like, when are you guys gonna do something? When are you gonna bring it back to the Mid Hudson Civic Center? When are you gonna? And they've actually been back in it for real as a tag team for 4 years now, and I think it just like felt like the right time, like the grouping came together, and definitely scary, right? Like fun and exciting and like all the things. For Vic, he's been planning out or creating a card from the stories he tells me, like since he came out of the womb, basically. And, this is like a dream. And as I've been with him and watched the kids get involved in wrestling, he can tell you pretty much any story about anybody at any point, and why the match would go like this and what's going to happen, and I think this. And so now there's always like speculation in the house. They'll do like a vote before shows, like who's going to win, and see how many are right. And like it's insane how much he understands like the behind the scenes of like creating the story, or like, oh, why didn't this person win? He's like, well, because that's not going to make a good story. Like you got to set up, who knows, especially with like WWE at this point, like their stories go forever, and like wrestling is at an all-time high, and like you can feed into what's going on right now because the people will watch.
Yeah.
And so I think for Vic, it was really exciting because he was like, I'm going to be able to like create my own show. I'm going to be able to create the stories. And like, every time somebody said yes, every time they booked somebody, to watch that like childlike wonder in like an adult man's eyes, be like, and then this is what's going to happen. And of course, I only know like little bits, right? And I do my best to remember, but like that's not my place. Like right now, that's the kid's place. Ronan is following in those footsteps big time of like understanding and knowing and wanting all the history and retaining it, and actually retains it. again, you have four people trying to make decisions. You have four people trying to give their input. Clearly, Vic and Hale know the business. Clearly, they know what they want. They know who, they also knew that they wanted to take care of the wrestlers
Hmm.
because they've been in so many situations throughout their career where they haven't been taken care of or like that hasn't been the top priority. So, um, and clearly they were on the ticket as well because they're a draw because it's Poughkeepsie and it's like that's their hometown and they're the hometown guys. And um, I was actually worried about him having to perform and run the show in the same day because um I know what that feels like. Like my background is in dance, so I've done that my whole life. And even though that's like not my job right now, like I know what it's like to choreograph, be in charge of, run all the things and then do it. And and they did a big show.
Yeah.
Like the getting up early for 7 a.m. radio shows and then like being up till out and later like doing the thing, phone calls, texting, phone calls, phone calls, texting, phone calls. I mean, the drama does not just live inside the ring. The drama with the promoter to just the wrestler or whoever their agent is. Like if somebody's an agent, like, and then worried like that, is everybody going to show up? Like, I hope they all show up. Well, this person doesn't have, this person may not have shown up at this, and this person doesn't always like say the right thing, or they come not prepared, or it was a lot. It was definitely a lot of stress, but so much fun. I think that the fun outweighs the stress ultimately. But when you're having a hard day, it just feels like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And so that was a lot going into, that was the whole fall because the show was in January. And so then that runs into the holidays and like all the normal stresses that happen at the fourth quarter of the year,
Yeah.
to be sort of bellied up to this one-time event. And then they sold out. Like, that's exactly what they were hoping for, but they weren't sure, even planning like, well, we will hold these seats, and if we need to open them up, we will. And then the fact that they had to was just so great. And then the feedback was amazing. I feel that anybody and everybody that came or saw and participated, the wrestlers felt taken care of. The promoters felt like they did a great job. They sold out of merch. Like, if you didn't get that first thing when you got there, you didn't get it.
Hmm.
Like, it was just all the things that could have gone really well went really well. And they had a blast. There's all the normals of the tag team who are like brothers, but like an old married couple at the same time. Like, they talk all day via messaging. They fight all day during messaging. They like love each other all day during messaging. So, again, it's real brotherly love right up in that thing because those boys, it's a lot, and they're trying to balance work and life and wrestling and now the show and then, the money. Like, I hope we make the money back. Like,
Mhm.
let's pray we make the money back.
I
Like,
think that would be
and
my
then
biggest worry would be to make the money back. Just so, I mean, just like it scares the shit out of me. Life in general, not having what you need because you're dumping. Yeah, I can only imagine like dumping that much into one basket. I mean, as soon as they saw the crowd, I think it probably had a completely different feel and demeanor to it. It was probably just a sigh of relief, and now you can actually have fun.
yeah,
Up until I think that moment when you see everybody there, it was
they showed
probably
up. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was the
yeah.
whole, it was the if you build it, they will come. The Field of Dreams, basically. I mean, I think that's the third or fourth time we've made that reference
Yeah.
to ACW.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
not just because we love Vic and Hale, but it's I mean, not too many people could have done that. I don't think. I don't think
And
too
then
many
there's
people
the
would have.
there's the like, let's do it again.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, have we given enough space? Have we kept up with the story? And then, there's just like the drama of the wrestling world in general, like
Yeah,
other promoters and other promotions and like people realizing, I think a lot of people saw that they were able to sort of bring life back to wrestling in this area. Like, because we travel a lot to New Jersey. I
Yeah.
mean, New Jersey,
So do
we might
we.
as well have an apartment in New Jersey somewhere on the weekends
I
for the
hate
most
New
part.
Jersey.
They're booked a lot,
Yeah.
and it's, it's different
They'll
amounts
be
of
in New
time.
Jersey again on Sunday.
Yeah, we're actually in New Jersey on Saturday first.
Really?
So
Yeah.
you're
ISBW?
Yes.
Okay.
at least they're doing a Saturday show and not a Friday show. Friday shows are hard.
Yeah. And
Especially
it's because you're getting off work and and for
Yeah.
us, we don't get the kids until 5 o'clock.
Oof.
So add that dynamic
So you
into
just pushed
making
back
sure
an
drop off
hour.
happen.
Yeah, push
That's
back
why
an
we
hour of
show up.
travel.
Yeah, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Please say that whatever, we're gonna be there in time to start the show. And of course, the kids' first question is like, "Are we gonna be there in time to get in the ring first?" Like that's top priority,
I mean,
So
kids
they
got the important things down. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
exactly. And for me, mine is that I'm responsible for those three little humans that are his number one priority throughout the show.
Yeah.
And getting us there, and is his bag packed? Ready to go. 3 kid pillows, 3 blankets, 3 water bottles, lunch boxes, electronics charge, backup battery, paper towel, whatever. I try to have everything so that the least amount. And then when we get there,
it's corralling
God
them
love.
and trying to hold them in.
As soon as they step foot into that parking lot, it's probably
well, and I can
They
speak
know
to
everybody.
this. I can speak to this firsthand because when we were in AC,
Mhm.
that's how when I first saw you, you guys were at the merch stand. And one kid's looking at figures and another one's looking at t-shirts, and you're like, well, wait, no, you can't have that one. Yeah, yeah, it was a lot. And I went to talk to you. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if this is the best time to talk to her. The kids are all around different area. That's like we said, the reason we're doing this show is it's a lot of stuff that fans, obviously, of wrestlers don't think about. The other side.
They don't even who even when would that be a thought? I wonder how the significant other is because it's a sport and entertainment where it's just a personality. It's like an actor. It's unless it's in the news, you got no clue what it takes and what that life is all about.
Yeah.
You'd have to
Well, and
be
with me, I'm not their mom.
Yeah.
So
which is
gaining that trust that not Vic's trust for me, but those 3 little humans, we started doing this together 3 years ago. So where's daddy? Especially Mila, because she was young. And
she would have been 5.
I started going to wrestling with him, in the fall when he started back. But then the kids, they went to one match without me, I think in September. And then, but the next time they went was when they had met me. And so that was our bonding moment, was sort of okay, wait, this person is gonna be there to make sure I get a snack, make sure if I get hurt, I need something. And with ISPW, it's been so awesome because those kids have Tommy's daughter, Emily, and Mila are oh my God, I cannot wait to see each other. La la la. They're this cute little girl clique, and Victoria, and then there's Anthony, and there's all these little people that know each other. And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
It's cool, and it's there's some safety in it, but there's also too the tattling that comes back. It's so just so you know, so and so did this, but I didn't do it, and la la la. It's
yeah. I thought
but it's
my
a lot.
daughter
And
was
then
going to do that.
the wrestling figures, forget about it. This
look behind
is
you.
just a touch.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember those days.
And my heartstrings are attached to him, and then these little and they're yeah, but I really need this new Cody Rhodes because I don't have that one and the thing. And next thing I know, we're okay, we've got 6 new wrestlers that are coming home with us.
Dude, kids are so lucky these days. It had to have been either a birthday or a Christmas to see wrestlers come into the house. It was always something like that. Kids nowadays, they don't understand. There's no wonder they don't have patience. We destroy them. It's just they ask for something, you're oh man, we can afford it, so I guess so. I don't know how to say no at this point. It's tough. And they just get stuff and they get stuff and they get stuff.
And I
it's
try to do that. A lot of times I'll be like, that's a dad question.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
You know?
You have an easy out for that one.
Yeah.
Ish, because then what happens is like it's like the story picks up. So it'll just be like, hey, so dad, I was wondering, like they'll just sort of like drop the idea, not like, hey, I asked Melissa and she told me that I need to ask you. So Vic will just be like, okay, well, cool. I'm so excited there's a Cody Rhodes here. Like there's no,
He
because
doesn't
he's
put it
also,
together.
when by the time they see him, it's either he's gotten dressed and he is trying to like focus on being who he is and like sitting at his own merch table or whatever, or it's post show where he's still worried about like making sure he checks in and like, he was
And he's-
raised old school. So
and he's
like
getting
you say
paid.
hello to you say hello to every wrestler. You say goodbye to every wrestler. Like you make sure that if there's feedback given, you give it, or vice versa, right? Like the kids aren't allowed in the, even though it's an indie show, he upholds those rules. Like you are not allowed backstage. I do not care what
Gotta
other children are
protect
doing.
kayfabe.
Yeah, it's not professional.
You
Like
protect
you
the
don't belong
business.
you don't belong in a locker room.
Yeah, you
That's
never know
not
what
your
they're gonna
place.
let
Whether
anyone know.
exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
So, teaching the rules and the boundaries of the professional world of like what he does. But that's also too like what bled into ACW, right? Like
Yeah.
there were signs made that were like nobody but, talent past this point. Nobody's running around backstage. I mean, the kids were stoked because we got to go there on Friday after they put the ring together. Let's see all the chairs. Let's, the pre part of it. But like, the show, the show is being put together now on Saturday. We're not going backstage.
Yeah.
You're not going in the ring.
That's
You're
tough
not
for a
doing all the
kid
things.
too, because they don't really understand that concept of no.
And especially it being dad.
Very simple concept, very complex meaning to it. Is what I've figured out. And that's good though on Vic's end, because that's kind of like it's work. And when you go to work, you try and keep work and home separate, so you get to you'll talk differently, especially being guys that are probably more than likely in a blue collar type world outside of this. So they're God knows what they're saying. I kind of know what they're saying because I work in that world. So it's not really a world for kids.
No.
In that sense. Like you don't want a kid
and they are up in it. Like Ronan is like in awe and just wants to know all the things. Like when Vic asked him if he'd be one of the people in the They Live masks.
Yes.
Like so nervous, but so excited. Like was trying not to act nervous. It was adorable. And Mila, she'll just like get up in there and be like, well, why did you say that? Like she's no qualms, none whatsoever. And like Austin is like happy to just be like able to run. So if the space is big enough that he can run, then we're great. Like he can get his energy out. Like he likes all the things, but like, Rob in dad life tries really hard to say like the rest of the story. Like Vic Dalishus here, and this is how these people know me, and this is what we're doing. And he also is like, he's a good dad. Like they know that he loves them, but he's also when he's the heel, there's no messing around.
Yeah.
Like at home. Like that energy
but you need
is
that.
like he's the dad, and it's not okay. Or this is not correct. And so they're good kids, and they know that when we're out, we try to remind them of like all the incredible opportunities that they get because their dad is Vic Dalishus.
This is successful. I mean, you've been doing it for 20 plus years. It's
like you're getting to
it
meet
means something.
Brett the Hitman Hart, and yes, he may not look like your figurine.
Well, he did at one point.
But he did, right? Like, and
Yeah,
you've watched those videos, and like it's fun to see them sort of click. And also too, like, you want to be a wrestler?
Look what he looks like after wrestling.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like it's hard on your body. Like it is a physical toll. Like
it's hard on both your mental, your physical. I mean, I don't know how it's going to progress going into the future. I'd imagine the problem is that when the old guard finally all retires, I don't know if there's going to be enough of the new guard to keep it that way. Like I feel like things are going to drastically change at some point, and I don't think I'm ready for it, and I know a lot of the old guys probably aren't ready for it. That's why they're trying to stick around as long as possible to make sure. And that's a weird stress in itself, like wanting things to be left a certain way, like that it was given to you. Like I don't think the younger generation necessarily understands that concept either. Like this is how I'm leaving it. Like because just think about like cleaning up, and they don't do that for nothing.
No.
So like here, this is how I'm giving this to you. I want this to be better in a certain form. Like what, not what you consider better, because I don't consider that better. I want it to be left
Right.
like
where's your story? What you're doing? What are you doing? You know, and I think that
15 flips, no story.
Exactly. You know, and I think that that's what's important, maybe, you know, at least with Vic's kids, like we watch the old matches, like as things pop up, or like there'll be randomly like an old like YouTube whatever, and it'll be him, you know, circa 2002, even that. And like Mila's like, Daddy, I cannot believe that you are cursing like that. And he was like, never did I ever think that this would be seen by my children. You know,
Yeah,
like,
right. You don't think
that
about
wasn't
that.
even
That
like
was
a
Vic with
thought.
hair too. That was hair Vic.
This hair
And that
Vic,
was
right?
weird hair hail. I think that was what? Frosted tip hail? Spiked frosted tip? Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. I had that hair
Really
style
good.
too. Me and Hale are actually like
You guys are too like it's scary sometimes.
Yeah, very much
same
so.
way with you too.
Yeah, that's a good thing though. You need those type of people. I think.
Yeah, but even with the ACW, I think that that's the other point, is like doing it correctly, right? Showing these guys, you know, the guys that are either their age or, you know, some of the old timers that are like participating are so appreciative, but then the younger ones seeing like, no, this is actually how it should be at every indie show. It doesn't matter whether it's indie, whether it's like, in my mind, like even though this is like an independent show, this was next level. This
Yeah,
isn't like
for
us
sure.
going to a high school gym.
You're going to see a big difference this weekend. No offense to Fight Club or anything like that, but you're going to see like that's what the majority of indie, when you think of indie wrestling and you go to indie shows, that's what, like, that wasn't like a 1,500 like arena theater type setting. That's not normal. That's not normal. That's why people don't do it, because they can't. Like, to bust your ass. I don't know if they don't want to do the work, or they can't do the work, or they don't understand how to do the work, whatever that is. Like, they did radio. Who the fuck does radio anymore? Like, that's an old
They
school
did a
thing.
lot of radio.
There's flyers that are in pizza
up in
boxes.
pizza places. There's flyers are flyering, another lost art of doing things.
We did flyers on telephone poles too.
Yeah,
There you go. That's
right
old
under,
Like took the kids, staple
right under
gun,
the-
like they were like,
kids don't even know what the
and
fuck
then-
a staple gun is.
No.
Yeah.
Right under
Or
the
that
missing
pole actually does something.
Yes,
You know?
right under the
No,
missing
that's not
dog and the piano lessons. You go to ACW, like that's the only thing a telephone pole's used for.
Yeah.
And maybe
Yeah.
graffiti depending on the area.
Exactly. And you know, to watch them see that work, and then even to like notice it when we go somewhere else and be like,
Yeah.
look, Dad, there's a
That's-
flyer on that one, you know,
it's
or
reassuring.
like, they took our flyers down. Like,
Okay, get 10
it
more.
was good. Yeah, exactly.
The one thing that you said, and I think it's kind of important to the whole like backstory of ACW and like how they want things done, is making sure that the guys and girls now are taken care of properly. Because when it comes to booking and you really want someone to show up, so say they have 2 bookings on the same day, you're going to be taken care of at this one, and it's kind of, though it might be closer for some people or whatnot, and you're familiar, but it's not a guaranteed payday, or it's not a there's no guarantee to it. So when it comes to the booking, especially for like your top tier, turn your phone off. Your top tier,
My Google Assistant picked you up and started talking back to you. Sorry.
I don't want Google to know me. Stop it.
Sorry.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So when it comes to like what you're going to choose, like that's a good way to make sure that you're going to get the talent that you want, is to actually take care of it. It's a crazy theory, but actually giving something to someone that they've earned and that they deserve and that helps them in a financial way.
Right. And I think at the end of the day, so much of this is like word of mouth. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, and I'm gonna put like word of mouth into like even social media or being able to DM somebody or
Oh, for
whatever.
sure.
And I think that, they set, like, let's say they set a thing, and then if they were able to do a little bit more, they did a little bit more, and everybody was just, it was heartfelt. Thank you so much. Thank you for keeping a professional show. Thank you for taking care of me. And that wasn't just by like one person. And it didn't matter if you were somebody that's like the up and coming, because I think that's the other part, is that they really do have a lot of people that they've either seen or work with or know about, because, wrestling is on this TV as one of
All
the
the
very
time.
first things every single morning, whether it's highlights, whether it's whatever, like nobody is getting not noticed in some way or the other, even if it's just to see like what's out there or like what's happening in other
Yeah.
places. Um, and to know that like this should, you should set your own standard. You should set your standard to be this way going forward. So whether, you're Matt Riddle that's coming in and has like done the thing and is doing the thing and is still there and like excited to do the thing and eat the pizza. Um, that was my other favorite too, was like to find out the behind the scenes stories. Because we're at home, the kids are all chomping at the bit that day to go. Ronan
Yeah.
wanted to be noon. I'm like, bro, you are gonna have nothing to do. Like
For several hours.
so many, like the show doesn't stop. And we went at 4. We still went early, but Mila was like telling everybody what to do. She was like baby bossing it all around. You know, the boys like really sat and like took it in.
So
It was very interesting. But like we pull up, we park, and I let Vic know that we're there, and he's got on his earpiece, and the kid's like, so it's even just like the wonderment of cool stuff like that. Like the first time, like, I don't know. It like warms my heart in a way that I can't even describe. It's super cool.
Well, and getting like even before this, you said you've been doing it for 3 years with Vic and
And the
doing
kid.
everything. What was it like seeing him just as the wrestler? Like just because obviously, like you said, you obviously would corral the kids and do that.
hold on. Did you meet him while he was still injured?
No.
Okay.
We started dating in 2021.
Oh, so COVID.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
end of
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
And like in our first conversation together,
Did you get vaccinated?
yeah, and so that was day 2. That was like on the
Gotcha.
first date.
Okay.
But
It's a weird thing to say to
when
each
I
other.
met him, yeah, exactly. When I met him, whatever, share a little bit, and then he's like, well, because I met him through work, and then he's like,
Oh.
well, I'm also a professional wrestler, and I was like,
Dun dun
what?
dun.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, and he was like, yeah, and I was like, well, what's your name? He's like, Vic Delicious, with like a straight face,
Yeah.
and I was like, I was like, what? And he was like, Vic Delicious. And so then he spells it for me. And I was like, wow, you went phonetic. And he's like,
Yeah.
like serious. But of
Chicks
course, like
dig it.
it's him. Yeah, exactly. And so then I'm like, what is going on? But I loved it. Again, as a dancer and like just knowing the drama, that the little bit that I knew of wrestling
Yeah.
from being a kid. Because
So
like
you
my sister,
understood it. Like you didn't, because telling that to someone, like it's hard enough to tell people that you like professional wrestling,
Yeah.
let alone tell people that, oh yeah, I do this thing on the weekends. It's called professional wrestling. I
yeah.
wear tights.
Well, in my mind, I was like, oh, finally a hot guy wearing tights. That's, because in my world, that's
Yeah,
not
guys
usually the
wearing
case.
tights. Yep. Yeah, the other way on that
Just
one.
not, that's just not typically like when I'm around. So I was very like intrigued. And he's also like, who he is who he is in like real life, as you guys know. So, I mean, his like what he was fixing at my store took like 3 hours versus like the 20 minutes it should have. And, and
Slick.
then Yeah, exactly. And then he had to go. Um and then our first date was, it was limited because he had to pick up the kids. So we had
Yeah.
lunch for our first time, like on a Friday at like 1, and he had to leave by 4:30. But like it was simple from moment one.
A
So
3.5 hour lunch is a big deal. Like that's a substantial date. I mean, it's not. I mean,
yeah,
by
it
any
was real.
standards. Yeah.
It was
So
real.
that didn't scare you at all. The professional wrestler, the 3 kids.
Well, I was gonna say,
the
or the 3 kids, because that
yeah,
could be a little intimidating depending on the person.
yeah. Well, that would
Well,
definitely.
he like makes fun of it because I had been single for a while, and he didn't realize like I was single until the night before he was supposed to come for this fix that I needed in my store. I responded to him at like midnight, and according to him, he was like, "So either this person's not happy in their marriage or they're single, because who the hell is responding to a work email at midnight, right?"
Or
So
you
he was
just
like
very
already
avid
kind of
about getting things done.
exactly. I am actually, but to his point, like I'm not doing anything. And so I had just tried to like sell myself. I was like, I've never been married. I don't have any kids. I don't have any diseases. I like,
Many
I was
diseases.
trying to give,
I'm
yeah,
clean. I take showers 3 times a week.
I don't really have any I don't have any baggage. Like, I don't have any school debt right now. Like I tried to like give this,
You put a portfolio together.
yeah, this pretend unicorn thing together, right? Little did he know how crazy I am. No, I'm just kidding. But
Well, he's a professional
he's like,
wrestler. I think he understands.
he's like, well, so I have an ex-wife. I have 3 kids. It's like, oh, I was like, well, I love
Oh.
kids. Like I've always wanted kids. I always want like my dream
I
is like to
didn't have to
3
work
kids.
that hard on this resume.
So you don't have baggage, but here's all mine, and we're just
Yeah.
gonna throw
Yeah.
that on the table. Gotcha.
So
Exactly. I'm like,
literally, I could have
the
just told
universe
you
brought me the
nothing.
family I was always hoping I would have, So it didn't scare me. I just really liked him, like from moment one. I really did. It was nice to have a conversation with a man that was actually a man, and that wasn't a man that was married or somebody that was trying to trick me into something. Like I had had so many just not great experiences that to find someone that was like willing to just be honest and open about what he told me about his leg, he told me about those things, and which just seemed crazy. And then never did I ever think that I would then be reliving that in 2022. Because
Yeah.
you guys know he had that other surgery, right? So
Yes. Yeah.
he
Yeah.
went through like all the infection, all that stuff, like
Yes.
twice
Yeah, that
through.
was
And
like the hardest part of the journey was that second time that kind of like happened. And he was going through rehab and he was sober at that point. So that was, and I know he'll probably attest to this, that was like a huge barrier to get over and a huge thing. It
let
was,
me insert the behind the scenes of the
there you
wrestler
go.
part.
All right. Awesome. Go ahead. I'll shut up.
No, you're totally fine. But you're right. It was very difficult, right? So he and I moved in together, or was scheduled for us to move in together Sunday, November 1st. On the Wednesday prior to this, when we're at the doctor and he's talking to this guy about how he just wants this screw out of his ankle because he feels like it's like definitely he can feel it, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, yeah, this is like not a big deal. We'll just get in there, we'll like shave, we'll get it out.
Sounds like a huge deal.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, what about Monday? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, we're moving on Sunday. He's like, yeah, so we'll get the move and we'll do the thing. So boys, we moved on a Sunday and he had a surgery on a Monday.
So his leg wasn't
And
feeling
then
too good
all
going into
this
that.
stuff happened after it. So moving in, like officially moving in together, which also meant the kids were gonna like all their stuff is like here too.
Yeah, naturally.
And again, we got along great. Everybody was excited. It was all the things. But then, to have your muscle up on the couch and like not feeling good was like that just added to like the difficult, because he didn't feel great. He wasn't, I mean, clearly he had like 2 infections in his body that were like starting to do a thing. And then the hospital visit, it was a lot. It was a big 2 months.
I mean, and that's that. I mean, you couldn't test a relationship more than that whole scenario right there. I mean, if anything, you come out on the other side of that, you can almost handle anything.
And thankfully, it was only 2 months. Like I mean, it could have been like with an infection like that, it could have been way worse. I mean, he got lucky too. I mean, I know he knows that, but
and what was so crazy is that like they were treating the one, but the other one couldn't really do anything because the other one was coexisting with it.
Yeah, so it was
even
out
though they were
battling.
they were like, it was literally battling. And then the whole pick line, which was at home, like that was all the way through January. Like he had to do it 6 weeks post being in the hospital. So like that's an everyday, twice a day, like flush, push, flush, it was a lot of mental, because he was like reliving in a sober state, in a different like kind of relationship, in a different like, and he had been wrestling. Like that was NWA year.
Yeah.
Like 2022 was like they had just done the Crockett Cup and then they were wrestling. And so
just fought the
again,
Briscoes.
like
This was like a big time for them now because they didn't know what was going on. You figure you're wrestling the Briscoes, NWA. I mean, you feel like this is like some sort of launching pad to another step in your career, which they've been trying to do, and it was ramping up, and they were just starting to get like re-noticed. They were repackaging. There was a lot that was going on, and we pretty much kept up with it the whole time as you did as well. I mean, you were in the thick of it. We only got bits and pieces when we talked to them, but like the whole story is even crazier.
Yeah.
I know. So, it like happened at the time again that it could, like, thank goodness. And by the time, the request to be out or to be back out and into things again was like there, just in time, he wasn't even really sure. Like after that first surgery, he actually wrestled 2 weeks later.
Which is insane.
In Brooklyn. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't at that show. It was a Thursday night, so he and Hale went down and they did the thing. But like, at first he thought that was like part of what had caused it, and it wasn't. It just that like I think his body is such a fighter that like, people are like, how are you still standing, or how are you still like?
Why are you wrestling right now? Yeah. Guys have a complete.
I'll just bandage it up. It'll be in my boot.
Yeah, guys have a completely different outlook on
tied
things.
Tied a little bit tighter.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You good?
Yeah,
Put some duct tape on it. I'm sure it'll be fine.
That's right.
It's because our parents did it, their parents did it, their parents did it, and every generation you go backwards, it gets harder and harder somehow. Like it goes from we walked 5 miles in the snow. And then you go 5 miles up and back in the snow, no shoes. And then you go back another, and then now it's 25 miles, and you fucking have to carry your siblings on your back with no shoes and broken
and the wind
legs.
was going 45 miles per hour in your face.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's how you're raised. You're just told like, suck it up, Buttercup. It's gonna get better eventually.
Well, and he's been an athlete his whole life, so like between football, wrestling, baseball, like it is suck it up. And if at a young age your dad's your coach, then guess what? There's even more like,
yep. Oh, I know those
suck
times.
it up,
Yeah,
Buttercup.
Don't
but
be
also too,
biatch.
he loves it.
Yeah,
he loves
well, he wants to do that for his kids too, and that's the whole thing. Like it was tough, and it's tough love, but it breeds a different style person that is still gonna love you, but they really, really want what's best for you, and they have an idea of how to get there because they've seen it, they've lived through it. The kids don't understand that. I didn't understand that until well past 18. I mean, you don't realize the things that you end up turning into,
or the things that are done for you, what you finally appreciate.
Yeah, when you finally appreciate it, it's way later on in life when you actually see those things. And I mean, it's even tougher because you get to a certain age, you're like, this hasn't happened yet. So you're kind of at a crossroads, and your decision is to keep going, and then things actually start to click and things actually start to happen. You're like, shit, well, normally people would be retiring at this point, but I got to actually ramp it up. Your body deteriorates or starts to. You got to take a different route to stay healthy. You got to start
Yep.
watching what you eat, because back in your 20s, who the fuck cares what you ate? You ate
Right.
shit like McDonald's, tacos, fucking whatever the hell they sell at a convenience store or at the gas station. Don't matter. Now you got to
Exactly.
actually pay attention to what you need.
Attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're
Well, and I think that's the other thing too, is that the stories and the connections and the people that like every time there's something, every time there's a wrestler who'll be like, yeah, so I wrestled him at at OVW. We were the first ones here. We did that. Like,
yeah,
it was always the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And
who made it.
Yeah, or like got the chance, or it was
Yeah.
there, they were the thing, and he was like, that's not how I thought it was going to go based on the feedback that I was getting, or even the feedback that I continued to get was that, like,
People are
I'm
either
on the right
lying or
path, but
scared
then
to tell them the actual truth.
I think, but that's the other draw to like keeping on doing it, is like, to be his age and still wanting to do it the way he wants to do it for the most part. Like, there's some
Yeah.
days that are less exciting, but then like he gets like, for instance, Sent to Slaughter, like being able to wrestle with those guys. They're wrestling with like guys that get it, dudes that can call it in the ring, which is like, from what I hear, almost like a lost art at this point. Like,
Yeah.
They really enjoy getting to be in the story with one another, and but he's also a great teacher. Like, he really loves to pass on those things. So, if he's with, a singles match, because Hale can't make it.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Never.
now
He
you're
gets,
just
yeah, but he gets the
making things up
opportunity.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
that
gets the
doesn't sound-
opportunity to like help that person, right? Or
Mhm.
teach that person.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, in my mind with ACW, like, I'd love it to be that it's just such a strong promotion that, a wrestling school can be built off of that too, like ACW Dark or whatever, I'm just making something up.
Yeah.
But like, I think that makes total sense to me.
Mhm.
They did House of Hardcore, they did all of that with Tommy Dreamer, and I think that, he looks back at pictures and he's like, oh my gosh, I was so fat or whatever. And he's like, but he was like, but I was still doing the thing.
Yeah,
And
he was
Yeah.
still great in the ring. I mean, look, we
He was
remember
great at pissing off the fans. I know that much.
he was a great heel. That's one
That's
thing.
why we were drawn to him, because he got really good heat,
Mhm.
and he seemed like he
Yeah.
was interesting and like just enough to be out there, but still in reach for us to talk to. And just like ever since that first time that we talked to him about House of Hardcore and the Now and all that, it was like we had the same that same feeling she did.
Yeah.
We fell in love right away. He sucked us in with those eyes. He knew what he was
Cinderella
doing.
Man.
Yeah.
Cinderella Man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
man.
that's
I mean-
the thing about his stories too, that we've had hours. I mean, at this point,
Yeah.
both of them on for hours and hours that we've talked to them, and I've still found myself going back and listening, because there's so many stories that come out of Vic that, like, yeah, you look at a guy who's been on the indies as long as he has, and yeah,
He's seen some shit.
that cup of coffee with WWE and OVW and all that, but the knowledge that he drops, and I'm sure there are stuff. Look, he did an interview. Both of them did an interview on the radio leading up to ACW, and he was like, "Oh, I was Jeffrey Giraffe for Toys R Us," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Wait, how didn't this come up on our show?"
Yeah, I know. How is he breaking it there? And
Like, I was like, what? We've talked to you how many times, and this has not.
Yeah.
You were Jeffrey Giraffe.
we never brought it up. It's kind of
Yeah,
our fault.
I mean, yeah, like we
Didn't
thought we heard everything.
no, we're not.
We
We're
heard
just
the-
scratching the surface.
Goldberg farted in his face. Like we've heard those kind of, but like
I mean, that's a better story than Jeffrey the Giraffe.
it is. It is. I'll give him credit for that one. It is. But no, like there's some things about certain people when you talk to them that no matter how long you talk to them,
They pull you in.
there's still
Yeah.
there's still stuff that you want to hear, and
He's a good storyteller.
very good, and which is why he's so good at being a professional wrestler and doing ACWs because it comes across as a fan sitting in those bleachers watching.
We can see his vision.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope that this is validation for his career. Like I hope that this is the thing that he looks at like 10, 15 years from now. Is like, this is what made it all worth it. Like, yeah, we were on the road a lot. We did some shit. We were ups, downs, all arounds. We made money, but this ACW thing, I hope this thing is like the thing that he looks back on is just like, this was it. I get to do this with my kids. I get to do this with my best friend, my soon-to-be wife. Like we all get to share. This is like a thing. Like, yeah, I can still get to do it in the ring, which is cool, but everything that you're talking about that we hear, like, I hope this becomes like, because it is. If this is a thing that differentiates himself from the rest of the indies, where this is a reliable promotion, this is a fun place to work, this is an interesting place to work because it's not to just go in there and do whatever the hell you want. There's actually some sort of cohesion, and there's a story, and there's things that mean something. This is where people are going to want to be to actually hone their craft and to try and make, like, I hope it's a leaping ground for something bigger for a lot of these people that are there, because you can say
Me
that
too. I think that, even
ACW
just
was
like
it.
booking, like booking the people, for whatever they've got planned or what they're hoping to have planned, like for the rest of the year. I joked with them. I was like, so should I create a card for our wedding day? Like, should I make sure it's part of like the ACW run for this year?
You should definitely get
because I want to make sure
married in the
that like all the
ring.
players are there,
Well, look, and not only that, the correlation between weddings and professional wrestling, like they go hand in hand. They don't always end very well, but it's always eventful.
I'll throw this out there as well. My co-host here and best friend is also ordained, so
yes.
he could marry you guys in a ring. He could dress up like Brother Love. I'll be there as the ring bearer. I mean, well, the kids can be the ring bearer. I'll be there as a crowd control.
I have one more left in July that I'm done doing it because unlike this, I can sit and I can talk to mostly anybody, but I get in front of a
People you
wedding
don't
crowd and I immediately tense up. I'm sweating, cold sweats. I can't. I mean, it's his fault that I'm ordained because he got me to ordain so I could marry him and his wife. And then
it's actually my wife's fault.
No, it's your wife's fault. Yeah.
Yeah.
But since then, all these cousins and stuff like, hey, would you mind doing it? And I've
All
done
their
it.
friends.
Yeah, I've done it. This is my 7th time in July. But I will say this: there's one friend, one of my best friends. I told him, I said, no matter what, I'll do yours. Vic would be the other one. I would love to do that. I would travel as far as you need me to travel to marry you guys. That would be awesome. But yeah, I mean, that weddings and wrestling go hand in hand. That's awesome. That's such a good idea.
Yeah, the kids saw one where like, I guess, like the bride and groom came out with like Roman Reigns was like, the guy was like pretending to be Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I've seen that one on TikTok.
And the woman was like, Paul Heyman, I was like, Roman was like, yes, that would be so awesome. And we could have a ring. I was like, yeah, no.
You mean you didn't want your special day to look like that when you were picturing it when you were a little kid?
Yeah. I think he's gonna let me like have this one. No, he's been great. He's a Taurus, so he's very black and white. It's very like, yeah, sure. These are two. Great. Sounds great. Yep, I'm comfortable with that. Sounds great. Like, and I'm like, like I didn't write down on my list. It's not in my planner. I didn't like check it off. I didn't ask all the questions, but it's good. It helps.
I don't think that's a
it's
Taurus
good balance
thing.
for me.
I think that's a guy thing when it comes to weddings. You just tell us give us your option. We'll give you an opinion.
I mean, and
your opinion will pretty much change. And whatever we say, it will be the opposite. That's how you know. Once we say we like this, you're like, I don't know about that. I like this one. You're like, oh yeah, see, that's all we had to do. It's like reverse Jedi mind tricking.
And
all we have to do is tell the truth, and you'll be like, I hate that. I like the other one.
Our wives were smart and found ways of getting us into our wedding. For instance, for him, his wedding was on 3/16. So all the guys came out in the wedding party when we came to the reception in wrestling t-shirts. And his entrance theme was Austin's theme. And
the
then
only thing I got of the whole.
And then he got to stunner me on the dance floor in the entrance, which was awesome.
Did you guys crack beers?
Did I crack beers?
I think we did for pictures.
Come on.
I think we did for pictures. I don't think we did
I
it
don't think I had any
in the
thrown on Steve.
tuxes on the dance floor because that'd be a big cleanup. But yeah, but he
true.
got.
Yeah, the
I mean,
venue was a little.
he stunned me, so that is what it is. Like
flipped
it
him
was
the
worth
bird.
it. And then my wife was smart enough to make it a Flyers themed wedding, and everything was orange and black, which got me into making our place cards and Flyers tickets and making, like, when we walked out, all my groomsmen were holding hockey sticks. We walk under an arch of hockey sticks. Like,
Amazing.
getting the guy just a little bit involved, a little bit of interest is the smartest thing a woman can do because then they'll be in.
Well, I think so I'm pretty lucky because first of all, we agree on most things, which is amazing. There's not much we
The
disagree
big
on.
step.
Like that's just honest. I think it's because we're older.
Helps.
Not like old, but we're older. Like
No,
More
when you have
experience.
your shit together, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And for him, when I first met him, he was like, yeah, I'm never getting married again. I'm never la la la. But that like changed within like a week. And he was like, hey, I just want you to know that, sometimes you just say things in the beginning. But he's been very much like, you've wanted this your whole life. You've waited your whole life. I want this. Yes. I mean, like to a degree, like there's certain things that I'm sure he wouldn't want, but like everything has been very easy once it's been presented, we've done the thing. And, he loves me a lot. So I feel like if it's something I want, he's going to be down for it. And, the few requests that I'm like, yes, absolutely, so it's been good. I cannot complain. Yeah.
So, final
no trickery yet.
Final
Maybe for the
question
honeymoon.
is you've been around it for 3 years.
4 years.
4 years. Watching him wrestle and all that. Are you a wrestling fan? Or is it just like, oh my God, there are times where it's just like, I've had enough, I can't watch it anymore? Or are you hooked? Like, are you so far in at this point, there's no
turning
doubting
back.
it?
I definitely am a wrestling fan. Like, it doesn't bother me that it's on the TV. It doesn't bother me. Like, nothing of it bothers me, to be honest. Maybe like I don't like it when he is frustrated. I don't like it when he feels annoyed by like lack of communication or delay in pay or something like that. That's the stuff that like it irks me because it's important to like everybody, like in family. But I think that, yeah, I love the stories. I love the drama. Bianca Belair, obsessed with her. She's like my favorite. I think she's fierce. I love how strong she is. I think like
She's a beast.
she's my girl, but Ronan will be like, so Dad, who do you think is going to win the, United States Championship in 2028? And he's like, I have no idea, bro. Like, but he'll ask me the same questions. He'll be like, hey, Melissa, come look at this. I will have already seen it or heard it at least. He'll bring out, two wrestlers and be like, so this is Sheamus, this is his finish, and he can like do all the things. Oh, God. I'm like, he's like, but this is what I just created, and he's gonna like jump off I'm like, I have absolutely no idea for the most part what he's talking about. I know of the words, but I don't necessarily know what everything is. Like, yeah, the spirit. Yeah, I know what like there's certain things I do, but I'm not completely versed. And this kid, they make me a part of it all the time. I love the shows. I love watching him do his thing. I've loved it since moment one. I videotape every time so that they have like an immediate feedback for themselves to watch.
That's good.
That was one thing that I loved about ACW too, is that,
You
there's
didn't have
supposed to be
to do
no
that.
cameras. And so I just got to watch.
Yeah. Yep.
Watch.
There was
'Cause it's
someone doing your
different.
job for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was already a camera
Yeah.
there.
Well,
So it was
Melissa,
really awesome.
thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for talking to us. We appreciate it. It was good seeing you and talking to you again.
Yeah, this was fun.
Same
And
to you guys. This is great.
we Sunday, you're gonna be there Sunday, Paulsboro, New Jersey. They go
God willing.
obviously all three kids. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Different part of Jersey.
Yeah.
Maybe I should bring a cheesesteak this time.
Yeah, we're close enough. You can
Yeah.
finally fulfill it and get Vic off your back about the cheesesteak.
Yeah, I should not be a dick.
Yeah. So, yes, we can't wait. We'll see you on Sunday for Fight Pro, Paulsboro, New Jersey. Can't wait to see the guys, obviously, in action. So thank you once again. It's always great talking to you, but thank you for taking the time and talking with us.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Thank you, too. Thanks, everyone, for watching, listening. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be talking to you very soon. Don't take any shit from anybody. See you guys.